Imagine this situation. You design a footing and the safe bearing capacity of soil is given, let's say 200 kilonewton per square meter. But when earthquake or wind loads are included, suddenly the code allows 250 kilonewton per square meter. That means the soil is suddenly allowed to carry 25% more load. But that's not all. See, in working stress design, the code even allows 33% increase in allowable stress of concrete and steel. And you might read all this in your design basis as well. Now, this raises three very important questions specifically to those who are beginners. First, why does soil capacity increase during the earthquake? Why are concrete and steel stresses allowed to increase? And does this rule apply in both working stress method and limit state method? So in this video, we will understand the complete design philosophy behind this concept step by step with simple examples that every beginner structural engineer should know. So before we go into the formulas, we must understand a fundamental concept in structural engineering. See, all loads do not act on the structures for the same duration. Some loads act continuously for many years. Example includes, let's say, self-weight of the structure, weight of slab beam columns, right? Live load from the people and furniture. See, these loads are present throughout the life of the structure, but some load acts only for very short duration. Let's take an example of earthquake or strong wind gust. See, an earthquake may last 20 to 40 seconds. Strong wind gust may last a few minutes. Because these loads act only temporarily, the materials and soil can safely resist slightly higher stresses during the short duration. And this is the main idea behind this stress increase during the wind and earthquake. Now let's understand the first part. Why safe bearing capacity of soil is increased by 25%. So let's take a simple example. Suppose the safe bearing capacity of soil is, let's say, 200 kilonewton per meter square, and assume that the footing area is 2 meters square. So the maximum load that soil can safely carry will be, usually the equation that you already know is load is equals to SBC into area. So if I work out the load based on SBC and area, we will get 200 into 2, that will be 400 kilonewton. So this is the load that soil can safely resist under normal condition. Now imagine an earthquake occurs. Now during an earthquake, additional forces are generated in the structure due to the ground shaking, and these forces travel through your slab, beams, columns and then footings, and finally further it distributes into your soil. So the soil now experiences these additional loads. But remember something very important. Earthquake load acts only for few seconds. So soil can temporarily resist higher stresses without failure. Because of this, code allows 25% increase in safe bearing capacity. So if I calculate based on 25% increase, my new SBC will be 200 into 1.25, 25% increase, that will be 250 kilonewton per meter square. Now the footing can carry 250 into 2, right? That will be 500 kilonewton load. So without changing the footing size, the foundation can safely resist additional earthquake forces. Now you might have questioned that why code allow this increase. See, if codes does not allow this increases, footing would become very large, foundation would become very expensive, and structures would become uneconomical. But since earthquake and strong winds occurs rarely and for the short duration, code permits a controlled increase in soil stress. Many engineers believe that this 25% increase in SBC is only allowed in working stress method. But that is not correct. See, this increase is related to the soil behavior and not the structure design philosophy. So it is allowed in both the design methods, working stress design, limit state design, because the concept is purely geotechnical. Let me explain this concept with a simple real life example. Imagine you are carrying a backpack. For a long journey, you may comfortably can carry 10 kilograms for many hours. But for a few seconds, you might lift 30 kilograms or even 40 kilograms. but you cannot carry 40 kilograms for the entire day. Your body can handle higher load only for a short duration. So the same principle applies to the soil. Soil can resist slightly higher stresses temporarily, which is why the code allows 25% increase during wind and earthquake. Now let's discuss the second part. Why concrete and steel stresses are allowed to increase by 33%. See, this rule applies only in working stress method. So during your graduation, you already have studied both these methods, right? See, in working stress method, structures are designed based on allowable stresses. The actual strength of the material is reduced using a large factor of safety. Let's understand this through the concrete grade example. Let's say its characteristic strength is, let's say for M20 it's 20 megapascal, but allowable stress in working stress method is around 7 megapascal. So you can see that the material is used at much lower stress than its capacity. This means there is already a large safety margin. Since the earthquake and wind loads acts only temporarily, code allows the allowable stress to increase by 33%. Let's understand this through the example. Let's say allowable concrete stress is 7 megapascal. So with seismic increase, that will be 7 into 1.33. That will be 9.33 megapascal. In the similar manner for steel as well, if allowable stress is, let's say, 230 megapascal, then during wind or seismic load combination, it will be increased 33%. Let's say 230 into 1.33, it will give you 306 megapascal. So members can resist extra lateral forces without making beams and columns excessively large. So let's understand this through the real life example. Imagine you are doing push-ups or lifting weights in the gym. Normally, you may comfortably lift 20 kg repeatedly for many sets, right? But if someone asks you to lift 20 kg just once, you might still be able to do it, but you cannot lift 25 kg repeatedly for a long time because your muscles can produce extra strength temporarily but cannot continuously. The same principle applies to the concrete and steel as well. So they can resist higher stresses temporarily during the short duration loads like earthquake or winds, and that is why code allows 33% increase in the allowable stress. Now you might have questioned that why this rule does not exist in limit state design. Now comes the most important concept. See, in limit state design we do not use allowable stress. Instead we use characteristic strength, partial safety factor and factor loads. For example, according to IS 456, the concrete design strength is calculated as, you understand this formula and you have already studied this during the graduation. Let's say it is FCD is equals to FCK divided by gamma m, right? And for the steel design strength, it is FYD, that is based on Fy divided by gamma m. Here this gamma m is the material safety factor. So the safety is already included in the design process. Then load combinations in limit state design. See, instead of increasing stresses, limit state design modifies the load combinations. For earthquake designs, according to IS 1893-2016, typical load combinations, you can check out this load combinations over here. 1.5 dead load plus live load, 1.2 dead load plus live load plus earthquake, and 1.5 dead load plus earthquake. So these loads are factored, which ensures safety. So there is no need to increase material stresses separately. So let us summarize everything clearly. I have mentioned all the important points from our today's session. You can check out this summary over here for both limit state design and working stress design. Now, let's say if someone asks you in an interview, why is soil bearing capacity increased during earthquake? The correct answer is because earthquake and wind load acts for a very short duration. So the soil can temporarily resist higher stresses without failure. And remember these two rules. See, SBC increase applied to the both working stress and limit state design. Material stress increase applies only to the working stress method. See, understanding concepts like this helps you to move from just using formula to actually understanding the design philosophy. And that is what makes a strong structural engineer. Now, if you want more videos explaining structural engineering concepts, in the simplest possible way, make sure to subscribe Civil Nirman. And always remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. I'll see you in the next part.